brain is the boss of our body and controls everything we do. Everyone knows the brain is one of the most powerful things in the world, but most people don't know what the brain is actually capable of. Today I will tell you all about the brain. I'll tell you about what the brain is, what the brain does, and different diseases that affect the brain. First, I'll tell you about what the brain is. It's an organ of soft tissues inside of our skull. It has a pink color, and on the outside it is made of sulci and gyri. Gyri is the ridges that stick up on the brain, and sulci are the creases. The brain is a pinkish color and also has a cerebellum right here and a brainstem that connects to the spinal cord. The brain is also split up into different lobes: the occipital lobe, temporal lobe, parietal lobe, and frontal lobe. The occipital controls our vision. The parietal controls touch and academic functions. The temporal controls language and memory, and the frontal controls movement and judgment. These are some of the inside parts of the brain. You have the pituitary gland right here. The brainstem is also made up of the midbrain, pons, and medulla. Here's where the spinal cord connects to the brainstem. And there's the thalamus, hypothalamus, and corpus callosum. I will now tell you some about the history of the brain. According to A History of the Brain by Stanford, in the 4th century BC, Aristotle considered the brain to be a secondary organ that served as a cooling agent for the heart. By the Middle Ages, people said the brain was in 3 different divisions called cells. They said one cell was memory, one was imagination, and one was reason. Now we have the lobes. Albert Einstein was a genius, inventor, and scientist, and according to Neuroscience for Kids, when he died, the person that did his autopsy kept his brain in a jar in his basement for 40 years, and then he put it in Tupperware and drove across the country to give it to Albert Einstein's granddaughter. Now that I've told you about what the brain is and some history of the brain, I'll tell you about what the brain does. The brain has many different parts that work together. The basic functions of the brain are strategic planning, memory, analytic thinking, creativity, and learning, and it controls all 21 physical skills. The left and right side of our brain both do different things. The right side is more creative. It controls things like imagination, art awareness, expression, and the left side is more logical and controls things such as reasoning, numbers, and science. There are also motor areas in our brain. The occipital area has the visual association motor area and the visual cortex. The parietal has sensory association area and primary somatic sensory cortex. The frontal has the prefrontal association area, and the temporal has the auditory association area, so it deals with hearing and stuff. I'll tell you some facts about the brain. According to healthline.com, an adult brain weighs about 3 pounds and is 75% water, so it's very important to stay hydrated because even just a little bit of dehydration really affects us. The human brain has approximately 1 billion neurons, but the brain can't actually feel pain. It just interprets pain signals that are sent to it. According to Be Brain Fit, the human brain isn't fully matured until the age of 25. Now that I've told you about what the brain does, I'll tell you about different diseases that affect the brain. Brain diseases come in different forms. There are infections, traumas, strokes, seizures, and tumors. A few brain diseases are cancer, Parkinson's disease, paralysis, and epilepsy. Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia. According to Alzheimer's Association, Alzheimer's is a progressive disease where dementia symptoms gradually worsen over the numbers of years. Here's a brain that here's a healthy brain, and then one of someone that has Alzheimer's. In its early stages, memory loss is mild, but with late stage Alzheimer's, individuals lose the ability to carry on a conversation and respond to their environment. Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. A concussion is an example of a much more minor brain injury. It is usually caused by a blow to the head and results in just dizziness and a headache. There are things you can do to keep your brain healthy. You can reduce stress, get more sleep, and eat healthy. A few healthy foods for your brain are green leafy vegetables, fatty fish, blueberries, nuts, sweet potatoes, pumpkin seeds, and broccoli. The brain is truly amazing and can do so much more than people would ever even think of. Tonight I told you about what the brain is and the history of the brain, what the brain does, and diseases that affect the brain. If more people knew what their brain was actually capable of, they may use it more.